Who is Shiva? The cosmic leadership blueprint. In stillness, I move the cosmos. In silence, I create revolutions. I am not a leader of followers, I awaken leaders within. I am Shiva. Shiva, beyond religion, the embodiment of conscious leadership. Before we speak of Shiva as a god, we must understand Shiva as a principle. A cosmic code, a consciousness. He is not bound by a place, a time, or a ritual. He is that which simply is, unchanging, eternal, formless, yet the source of every form. In the world of leadership, where identity, power, and success often overshadow essence, Shiva reminds us, true leadership begins from within. He is the meditating yogi who conquers inner chaos, the fierce Rudra who destroys illusions, the compassionate Bholenath who listens to even the smallest cry. In a world full of action, Shiva is the power of an action that activates everything. Shiva's symbols, a leadership codebook in disguise. Let us decode Shiva's symbols as metaphors for leadership. Third eye, Trinetra, represents insight, not just eyesight. The ability to see truth beyond appearances. Modern leadership application, seeing the hidden patterns, emotional undercurrents, unspoken truths, future possibilities. Trishul, trident, 3 points, creation, preservation, destruction. A leader's role is not to cling to old systems but to know when to build, maintain, and when to destroy. Trishul also stands for mastery over body, mind, and intellect. Damru, cosmic drum, represents the rhythm of life, ups and downs, beginnings and ends. Leadership is not control, it is harmony. Shiva creates the sound that shapes creation, like a leader's words that shape culture. Vibhuti, ashes, everything material turns to ash. A reminder to stay detached from ego, wealth, or power. The ash on Shiva's body represents mastery over material illusions. Blue throat, Neelkant. He drank the poison of the universe and held it in his throat. A true leader absorbs pain to protect the system, without letting it poison their actions. Each of these symbols teaches one thing. A Shiva-like leader is not reactive, but reflective. Not loud, but profound. Not temporary, but timeless. The world needs Shiva, not just in temples, but in boardrooms. In today's corporate, political, and social leadership, we see noise without wisdom, speed without direction, growth without values, followers without consciousness. What if we redefined leadership not as titles or trophies, but as the ability to remain grounded, wise, and fearless in a volatile world? This is what Shiva stands for. He is not just a deity. He is a leadership archetype for startup founders, government reformers, spiritual guides, warriors, and creators. Shiva vs traditional leadership models control and command, conscious detachment, focus on outcome, focus on process and evolution, authority by position, authority by presence, seeking followers, awakening leaders, reaction to crisis, reflection before action, egocentric decisions, ego-less action, nishkama karma. While the world follows frameworks and KPIs, Shiva operates from clarity and consciousness, not performance, but presence. A real-world metaphor, Shiva and the startup founder. Imagine a young tech entrepreneur, starts a company with passion, Shiva as the creator. Maintains product stability amidst chaos, Shiva as the preserver. Kills old, failing ideas without emotional attachment, Shiva as the destroyer. Meditates daily to stay mentally aligned, Shiva the yogi. Balances data with intuition, Shiva's third eye. Listens to customers, critics, and co-founders equally, Bholenath's humility. This founder may never pray to Shiva, but is living the Shiva consciousness. Leadership starts where identity ends. Shiva sits in the cremation ground, surrounded by ghosts. Why? Because he is beyond labels, beyond Brahman or Shudra, beyond Dev or age, beyond gender, beyond society's status markers. This is the ultimate leadership lesson. You lead best when you are not attached to your identity. You are not your title, not your past, not your degree. You are your intention and awareness in this moment. That is why Shiva is called Mahadeva, not because he controls the universe, but because he controls himself. Takeaways for today's leaders: detach from labels. Your value isn't in your role, but your awareness. Build inner silence in chaos. Clarity comes from within. Embrace destruction and what no longer serves, even if it hurts. Balance logic or emotion. Ardhanrishwar is the new leadership model. Face fear, keep the serpent of fear around your neck, not your mind. Be a mirror like Shiva, reflect truth, not just results. Shiva doesn't walk into a room to impress. He becomes the room's silence. In a world where every leader is trying to be heard, the one who listens, truly, deeply, like Shiva, will create the biggest impact. Let us journey further, not to worship Shiva, but to embody him. In part 2, we will explore how Shiva's Tandava, his cosmic dance of destruction, offers the most powerful lessons in change, crisis, and reinvention. The Tandava destruction as a tool for leadership renewal. When I dance, it is not to entertain, it is to awaken. I dance not to destroy the world, but to dissolve all that blocks its evolution. I am Shiva, the dancer of time. Tandava, the dance of transformation. Among Shiva's many forms, the most iconic is Nataraj, the cosmic dancer. This is no ordinary dance. It is the Tandava, a rhythmic storm of creation, preservation, and destruction. When Shiva performs the Tandava, galaxies tremble, illusions break, and egos shatter. But what's most misunderstood is this. Shiva's dance of destruction is not about violence, it's about transformation. In leadership, we often talk about building new ideas, new systems, new teams. But what about unbuilding? What about removing what's broken? The toxic culture? The failed policy? The outdated mindset? This is the lesson of Tandava. Destruction is sacred when done with awareness. Destruction, a necessary leadership act. Let's look at a few examples where Shiva's destructive energy teaches us what modern leaders must do. Destruction of ego. Ego is the greatest barrier to progress. Shiva destroys the demon of self-importance. In leadership, when the leader stops learning or admits no mistake, the fall begins. Destruction of toxic patterns. Patterns of fear, dishonesty, and blame. Tandava breaks stagnation. In organizations, this is the moment a bold CEO says, "This ends now." Destruction of comfort zones. Growth demands discomfort. Tandava reminds us, if it's too easy, it's not transformational. Like burning bridges to move forward, Shiva dances on comfort to awaken courage. Leadership crisis as a sacred fire. Crisis is not the enemy, it's the Shiva moment. When a business is failing, and you must cut the fat to save the soul. When a government must break tradition to serve justice. When a movement must burn the old to birth a new future. Tandava is crisis as choreography, painful, yes, but patterned with purpose. A Shiva-like leader doesn't panic in crisis. They enter the dance, destroy the dead wood, and allow fresh seeds to grow. The 5 acts of Shiva, the leadership framework. The Tandava embodies Shiva's Panchakritya 5 sacred acts that mirror the leadership cycle. Srishti creation initiate new visions, teams, cultures. Sthiti preservation sustain systems, manage resources. Samhara destruction remove dead weight, end toxic norms. Tirobhava concealment manage uncertainty, strategic silence. Anugraha grace inspire healing, bless future paths. The heart of this cycle is Samhara, destruction. Not to harm, but to heal. Shiva in action. Modern day examples. Let's visualize Shiva through some modern leadership moments. Narayana Murthy, founder of Infosys, stepping down at the right time, destroying personal attachment to position. Pure Shiva mindset. In all these cases, leaders chose to let go, not cling. They embraced Samhara. Shiva and Ganesha, leadership lessons in letting go. Do you remember the story of how Lord Ganesha got his elephant head? Shiva, in his fiery moment, beheads his own son, not out of cruelty, but as a consequence of standing against rigidity. He later replaces the head with that of an elephant, symbol of wisdom and strength. What does this teach us? Sometimes, a part of our leadership must die, so something wiser can be born. Sometimes your beliefs, your role, your comfort must end, to step into your next evolution. Shiva didn't fear change. He danced through it. Destruction is not negativity, it's clarity. Let's clarify a common myth. Destruction is bad. But in Shiva's world, destruction is liberation. The end of illusion, the burning of injustice, the death of ego, the falling of the false. What's left after Tandava is not ruin. It's space for clarity, truth, and new beginnings. Leadership questions inspired by Tandava. To lead like Shiva, ask yourself, what must I let go of today to grow tomorrow? What old system in my life or team is rotting beneath the surface? Where am I holding on, out of fear, not strategy? Am I destroying with anger or with awareness? These questions lead to real leadership breakthroughs. True leaders are not afraid of endings. They know every ending is an invitation to a higher beginning. This is the wisdom of Shiva's Tandava. He does not fear breaking down because he trusts the power of rebuilding. So if your leadership path is shaking right now, don't panic. Maybe Shiva is calling you to dance. Not to destroy what you are, but to become what you were always meant to be. The master of meditation in a silence in external storms, the world may rage outside. But within, I remain unmoved. I am Shiva, the stillness amidst storms, the silence amidst sound. Shiva, the yogi of absolute stillness. When you close your eyes and picture Lord Shiva, what do you see? Ash-covered figure, serpent around the neck, crescent moon on the head, eyes half closed in deep meditation. He sits upon Mount Kailash, not just a physical mountain, but a symbol of the inner summit. The highest consciousness, the deepest self. Shiva's stillness is not laziness. It is mastery. It is the power to observe everything and react to nothing unless truly necessary. It is the ability to go inward when the world outside is crumbling. In today's world, this is not just spiritual, it is essential for leadership. Modern leadership noise, Shiva leadership stillness. Today, leaders are over-informed, constantly distracted, addicted to urgency, terrified of silence. But leadership is not just about responding quickly. It's about responding rightly. This is where Shiva teaches the most powerful skill, meditation. In the business world, we call it mindful leadership. Emotional regulation, strategic clarity, focused awareness. But ancient India already had it, within the meditating Shiva. Mount Kailash, the inner summit. Mount Kailash is not just a snowy peak in Tibet. It's a spiritual metaphor. It represents the unshakable mind, not moved by winds of praise or storms of criticism. Ask yourself, can I stay grounded when my team panics? Can I hold silence when everyone's shouting? Can I choose my response, not be driven by reactions? If yes, you're not just leading, you are anchoring your people. That is the Shiva mindset. The power of pause. Why inner silence is the new superpower. In a meeting, a crisis hits. Everyone speaks. Debates spark. Opinions fly. But the wisest leader does something radical. They pause. That moment of silence can reveal the hidden emotion, invite deeper listening, prevent reactive mistakes, allow real solutions to emerge. Shiva is not anti-action. He is pro-right action. And silence is how he ensures that. Meditation as strategic leadership. Think about it. Shiva meditates for eons, then opens his third eye. He doesn't act constantly, he acts consciously. This is what modern organizations need, leaders who aren't just busy, but aware. Decisions that arise from alignment, not anxiety. Meditation is the leaders meeting with their inner CEO. Meditation builds these core leadership traits. Clarity sees beyond illusion. Trinetra, detachment rules without attachment. Kailash, intuition acts from inner truth. Silence, resilience, calm in crisis. Ashes on body, compassion. Bholenath listens to all. In meditation, you don't run away from the world. You rise above its grip. Stillness is strength. Have you noticed? Shiva doesn't run from battles. He doesn't chase attention. He doesn't justify himself. His stillness is his strength. We live in a world where leaders feel the need to constantly prove. But Shiva shows, when you are deeply anchored, you don't need validation. You lead by presence, not pressure. Neuroscience confirms what Shiva showed. Modern research proves. Meditation rewires the brain. It reduces cortisol, stress hormone. It increases prefrontal cortex activity, decision making. It builds emotional regulation. So what Shiva did centuries ago in the Himalayas, souls are now doing in boardrooms. From Steve Jobs to Oprah Winfrey, conscious silence is now seen as corporate strategy. Real-life metaphor, the silent CEO. Imagine a leader in the middle of layoffs. Shareholders demanding action. Employees anxious and confused. But instead of reacting, she takes 30 minutes of silence. Reflects, breathes, aligns. Then she speaks. Fewer words, stronger impact. That's not weakness. That's power. That's Shiva. Inner leadership questions inspired by Shiva. Do I have a daily practice of silence or mindfulness? Can I observe my emotions before reacting to them? Am I listening deeply or just waiting to speak? Is my leadership driven by noise or clarity? What is my Mount Kailash, my place of personal retreat? If you want to become wise before successful, these are questions worth sitting with. In the quiet spaces of your day, Shiva is waiting, not to be worshipped, but to be remembered, within you. When you meditate, you meet your Shiva, the part of you that is fearless, wise, and free. We'll explore Ardhanarishwara, the half Shiva, half Shakti form, and what it teaches us about balanced leadership between logic and emotion, vision and compassion, strategy and intuition. Ardhanarishwara, balancing masculine or feminine leadership. When I merged with her, I became whole. When I embraced her energy, I awakened the universe. I am Ardhanarishwar, the fusion of Shiva and Shakti, the leader who leads with both power and grace. Ardhanarishwara, half Shiva, half Shakti, fully complete. In the vast library of Indian symbolism, few images are more powerful or more relevant to leadership than Ardhanarishwar, the divine union of masculine and feminine energies in a single form. One side is Shiva, symbol of stillness, structure, and detachment. The other is Shakti, symbol of movement, emotion, and creation. Together, they are not opposites, they are complementary forces. Just as night needs day, and breath needs both inhale and exhale, so too must a leader balance logic and emotion, strength and sensitivity, strategy and empathy, vision and collaboration. This is integrated leadership. This is Shiva in modern form. The two energies in every leader. In yogic philosophy, Shiva is the Purusha consciousness, witness, silence. Shakti is the Prakriti energy, motion, manifestation. Both exist within each of us, regardless of gender. Leadership style: directive, collaborative, strength, logic, focus, intuition, nurturing, communication, minimal, precise, expressive, receptive, strategy, linear thinking, lateral thinking, action, structure, innovation. A great leader learns to merge these forces. When we lead only from Shiva, we may become too detached or rigid. When we lead only from Shakti, we may become too emotional or impulsive. But when we lead as Ardhanarishwar, we create miracles. Emotional intelligence, Shakti in action. Shakti in leadership is not about softness, it's about emotional intelligence, EQ. Reading the room before reacting. Listening between the lines. Sensing your team's energy, not just their words. For example, a Shiva-like manager might say, "Finish the report by Friday." A Shakti-aware leader adds, "Is the workload manageable for you?" The second version builds trust, and trust is the soil in which results grow. Strategy needs sensitivity. Let's look at a real-world metaphor. A company is undergoing restructuring. There are layoffs, role changes, uncertainty. A Shiva-type leader will analyze numbers, plan the new org chart, cut unpredictable processes. Necessary? Yes. But a Shakti-aware leader will also have open conversations, address fears, preserve human dignity in tough decisions. That's Ardhanarishwar leadership, tough yet tender. Innovation fusion. Some of the most creative breakthroughs happen when the masculine and feminine leadership energies combine. Think Elon Musk, vision, daring, risk; Indra Nui, strategy, deep cultural empathy; Ratan Tata, precision, heart-centered leadership; APJ Abdul Kalam, discipline, humility, inspiration. These are modern Ardhanarishwaras, who show that balanced energy creates bold impact. Gender-inclusive leadership is not a trend, it's truth. Let's be clear. Ardhanarishwar is not about gender politics. It's about energetic wholeness. Still, in today's workplace, embracing the feminine voice is both moral and strategic. Companies with diverse leadership teams outperform others. Teams that respect emotional intelligence have lower turnover. Leaders who embrace balance inspire loyalty, not just obedience. This isn't mythology, it's modern management validated by metrics. Ardhanarishwar in organizational culture. A Shiva-dominant organization has structure, strong processes, predictability. A Shakti-dominant organization has creativity, people-first culture, fast innovation. A truly balanced organization grows fast but sustainably, makes money but leaves impact, solves problems but nurtures people. This is sacred scalability, an Ardhanarishwar gift to the world. Inner balance first, outer impact next. Leadership isn't just external, it's internal alignment. When you honor your intuition while analyzing facts, assert your boundaries while staying compassionate, create systems that include diverse perspectives, you become a walking form of Ardhanarishwara. This is what Shiva teaches us, not to choose one side, but to embrace the whole. Reflection questions for the Ardhanarishwar leader. Do I allow both logic and intuition to guide my decisions? Do I empower both male and female voices equally in my team? Am I able to show vulnerability without fearing loss of authority? Do I balance execution with empathy? These questions lead to heart-centered leadership, not just head-driven management. Ardhanrishwar is not a fantasy. It is the future of leadership. It is not a man and woman fused, it is the evolution of the leader who thinks with the mind, feels with the heart, acts with balance, and builds with love. As we move forward into faster change and deeper complexity, such leadership isn't optional, it's essential. We will meet another bold symbol, the serpent around Shiva's neck, and discover how it teaches us to master fear, confront crisis, and lead with stability even when venom surrounds us. Shiva and the serpent, fearless leadership in crisis management. Around my neck coils the serpent of time, of fear, of poison. Yet I do not flinch. I do not strike. I observe. I absorb. I transcend. I am Shiva, the fearless one. The serpent around Shiva's neck more than a symbol. When you look at Lord Shiva, one of the most striking and intimidating symbols is the serpent, Tarankanvas. The Shiva-Parvati relationship, sacred leadership partnerships. She did not follow me. Nor did I lead her. We walked together, in silence, in fire, in devotion, and in truth. I am Shiva. She is Shakti. Together, we become all. Shiva or Parvati, not just lovers, but co-leaders. The story of Shiva and Parvati is not a romantic tale alone. It is a leadership blueprint for partnerships in business, institutions, governments, teams, because where Shiva represents consciousness, Parvati represents energy. Together, they represent conscious energy, directed, powerful, sacred. This is not dominance. This is collaboration. Parvati, the partner who transforms the silent yogi. Before Parvati, Shiva was the fierce, aloof, wild ascetic. After Parvati, he becomes more balanced, grounded, and accessible. She doesn't tame Shiva. She evolves him. That is the power of a sacred leadership partner. To challenge, support, mirror, and expand the leader within. This is not a story of dependence. This is a model of mutual transformation. Leadership is not a solo journey. Too often, leadership is portrayed as a solo mountain climb. One person against the world. Lone wolf wisdom. But the Shiva-Parvati union teaches you grow faster in safe partnerships. Power is more graceful when shared. Your blind spots are healed by another's clarity. Whether in business, governance, or spirituality, every Shiva needs a Parvati. And every Parvati deserves a Shiva who listens. Qualities of a sacred leadership partnership: Shiva, consciousness, vision, detachment, silent strategy; observe a Parvati, energy, execution, involvement, expression, emotion, creator. A true partnership is not symmetry. It is complementarity. You don't need someone like you. You need someone who completes the spectrum of your leadership energy. A modern-day metaphor, founders as Shiva or Parvati. Imagine a startup. The visionary founder, Shiva, sees the long-term path. The execution-focused partner, Parvati, makes it real. Shiva may want to meditate and reflect. Parvati pulls him into the world, where ideas become action. Neither one is superior. Together, they build empire. Apple had Jobs and Wozniak. Infosys had Murthy and his team. Every great venture is born from sacred partnership. Lessons from their relationship: respect space. Parvati allows Shiva to meditate without interference. Shiva never controls Parvati's choices. Modern lesson: don't micromanage your partner's genius. Stand strong through silence. Parvati goes into deep tapasya to win Shiva's heart. Leadership lesson: sometimes, you must grow alone to meet your partner in power. Balance power, not fight over it. They share cosmic duties, raising children, destroying evil, maintaining balance. Modern leadership: share credit, share blame, share vision. Challenge with love. Parvati questions Shiva, even teases him, as Annapurna, as Kale. True partners don't flatter, they challenge for growth. Embody dual roles. Parvati is both nurturing, Annapurna, and fierce, Kale. Shiva respects both forms equally. Lesson: don't box people into one leadership style. Respect their full range. Sacred communication, shared evolution. In today's fast-paced world, communication often becomes transactional, superficial, defensive. But Shiva and Parvati show us sacred conversation, listening without ego. Speaking from love, not control. Staying even through disagreement. They don't always agree, but they always evolve. That is divine diplomacy. When the partnership breaks leadership chaos. When Shiva loses Sati, Parvati's earlier incarnation, he withdraws from the world. Stops leading, stops creating. This shows, even the most powerful leader needs emotional anchoring. Leadership isn't just about decisions. It's also about connection, companionship, and shared purpose. Without Parvati, Shiva is pure potential. With her, he is purpose in motion. Reflection questions: are you leading alone? Who is your Parvati or Shiva in your leadership path? Do you allow mutual growth or insist on superiority? Can you accept feedback without defensiveness? Are you building a culture of partnership, not power play? These questions don't just create better leaders, they create better humans. Parvati did not sit behind Shiva. She sat beside him, and sometimes ahead of him. Because in sacred leadership, no one leads alone. We rise together. Power becomes divine when shared with love, respect, and purpose. We will reflect on Shiva's ultimate quality, Ananda, the bliss beyond time, beyond pain, beyond ego, and how it transforms the very soul of leadership. Shiva as Ananda, the blissful leader beyond ego and time. I have danced in fire. I have meditated in ice. I have loved deeply, lost deeply, and returned to silence again. And in it all, I found Ananda. I am Shiva, the blissful, the boundless. What is Ananda? In Sanskrit, Ananda means bliss, supreme joy, transcendental happiness. But this is not happiness that comes from pleasure, not success, not praise, not wealth. This is inner bliss, born of stillness and detachment. Shiva, the ascetic yogi, smiles even in cremation grounds. He celebrates even in solitude. Because his joy is not dependent on the external, it flows from the eternal. And this is the final frontier of leadership, the bliss of being beyond identity. Why bliss matters in leadership? Let's be honest, modern leadership often burns people out. Constant decisions, high stakes, public judgment, endless goals. We celebrate hustle, but what we need is inner stillness. Bliss is not an action, it is the state of highest awareness within action. A blissful leader is present, not pressured, is joyful, not attached, inspires without control. This is Shiva in his purest form. Detachment is not disconnection. Many confuse detachment with indifference. But Shiva is deeply engaged with the world, his family, his devotees. Still, he's never possessed by any role. This allows him to create without attachment to outcome, lead without ego, detach without abandoning. He plays every role, destroyer, father, guru, yogi, with joy. And when the role ends, he smiles and lets go. That is Ananda. How does a leader reach Ananda? By transcending the ego. Ego says, I did this. Bliss says, it happened through me. By accepting change, Shiva accepts birth, death, and rebirth. So must a leader evolve through roles, transitions, success, and failure. By finding silence amidst success. The wise leader celebrates quietly. Ananda is not on social media, it's in self-awareness. By connecting with a larger vision, Shiva serves the universe, not himself. Bliss comes when you lead with dharma, not drama. Shiva's Ananda forms. Let's look at the forms of Shiva where Ananda shines through. Dakshinamurti Guru form, under a tree, teaching in silence. Your silence can teach more than your speeches. Nataraj dancing amidst destruction. Celebrate change with grace. Bholenath innocent, giving, smiling. Simplicity is power. Shankara auspicious one. Bring harmony wherever you go. Each of these forms represents a stage of blissful leadership. From stress to stillness. A leader under stress reacts, defends, micromanages, needs validation. A leader in Ananda responds, observes, delegates wisely, radiates joy, and people follow joy, not fear. In this way, Ananda becomes contagious. A blissful leader births a blissful team. Real-life examples of blissful leaders: Swami Vivekananda, fierce yet deeply joyful. His speeches weren't just powerful, they were soulful. APJ Abdul Kalam lived with simplicity, smiled from the heart, left behind. Shiva and the serpent, fearless leadership and crisis management. The serpent coils around my neck, not as a threat but as a symbol. I do not run from fear. I wear it. I contain the poison, but I do not let it touch my soul. I am Shiva the fearless, the master of crisis. The snake around Shiva's neck, a powerful metaphor. In every depiction of Lord Shiva, one striking image remains constant, the cobra Vasuki, gently wrapped around his neck. Why would the greatest yogi wear a venomous serpent so close to his throat? Because Shiva has mastered fear. In Indian symbolism, the serpent represents fear, crisis, danger, uncertainty. The neck represents communication, responsibility, expression. Shiva's calm demeanor shows us, true leadership means staying composed when venom surrounds you. Every leader faces poison. Whether you're running a business, a government, or a family, crises will strike. Criticism will surface. Challenges will coil around you like serpents. The question is not if you'll face fear. The question is, will you react, or will you lead? The moment holding the unholdable. During the Samudra Manthan, the great churning of the ocean, a lethal poison called emerged. Neither gods nor demons could contain it. But Shiva stepped forward. He drank the poison and held it in his throat, without letting it descend into his body. His throat turned blue, hence the name Nilkant. True leaders don't avoid poison, they hold it so others may thrive. This poison symbolizes blame, betrayal, burnout, pressure. Shiva shows us that absorbing chaos without spreading it is the mark of divine leadership. Leadership in crisis. Lessons from Nilkant. Let's decode what modern leadership can learn. Snake fear, risk, unpredictability. Be calm under threat. Blue throat poison held but not swallowed. Contain stress, don't transmit it. Shiva's stillness, control without force. Led by presence, not panic. In today's world, crises are faster. Opinions are louder. Blame is viral. And in such chaos, a Shiva-like leader is a source of centeredness. Real crisis. Real calm. Let's imagine your startup funding collapses. Your team misses a crucial deadline. A scandal threatens your reputation. A reactive leader yells, blames, spirals. A Shiva leader breathes, assesses, takes responsibility, and protects the team. Great leaders are not those who escape the storm. They are the eye of the storm. The neuroscience of the Shiva mindset modern science confirms. Leaders who practice emotional regulation under stress have higher success rates. The prefrontal cortex, rational decision making, activates more in calm minds. Mindfulness and breath awareness, as practiced by yogis like Shiva, reduce cortisol, stress hormone. So, Shiva wasn't just spiritual, he was neurologically optimized. Crisis leadership in practice. Ratan Tata absorbed massive business setbacks with quiet dignity and built back stronger. Like Shiva, they wore the serpent, not the scars. How to become a Nilkant leader? Pause before you react. Take 3 deep breaths in a crisis. Observe the energy. Acknowledge the poison. Denial fuels fear. Acceptance tames it. Speak less, say more. In chaos, people listen more to your energy than your words. Create a safe space. Protect your team emotionally. Shield them from public venom. Detach, but don't disconnect. Stay calm, but stay present. That balance is divine. Inner leadership reflection. Ask yourself, what fears coil around my neck today? Do I let panic lead my decisions, or pause to respond? Have I ever taken the blame to protect my people? Am I capable of holding emotional poison without letting it spill into my actions? These questions build the emotional architecture of a modern Nilkant. Shiva didn't kill the serpent. He wore it as a reminder that fear, when mastered, becomes your ally. He didn't run from poison. He held it as a service to the world. In a world filled with panic and pressure, be the one who absorbs, contains, and uplifts. Be Nilkant. Be the leader who heals through calm. If this series has helped you reflect, grow, or reimagine your leadership, please leave a rating and share it with your network. If this inspired you, share it with someone who leads with their heart. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow our series, Reinvent Yourself and Conceal the Leader Within. Let's bring back value-based leadership, one story at a time. Tell us in the comments, what's the biggest leadership lesson you learned from this? Thank you for listening to Reinvent Yourself.